Today is the last day of the downtown sidewalk sale. Check out the sale at S.E. Needham Jewelers. 60% of the store is on sale for 60% off today only. Over 1,000 pieces have been marked down in order to make room for new arrivals. Closeout pricing is available store-wide. Fashion jewelry, engagement rings, watches, clocks, and giftware. Special pricing on diamonds. Shop downtown. S.E. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block at the sign of the clock.
Hi, this is Chris Wilson at Wilson Motor Company. It's that time of year to celebrate our 80th anniversary with our biggest sales event of the year. We have reduced prices on over 300 Ford, Lincoln, Nissan, and pre-owned vehicles, including over 50 F-150s in stock and coming. We have rebates as high as $3,000 and interest rates as low as 0% for 60 months. Check out our inventory online at wilsonmotor.com.
Wilson Motor Company. We make hard buying easy.
News Talk 610 AM, 102.1 FM, KVNU.
It's time for the Garden Guide with your host, Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden.
New research suggests that people are more likely to eat vegetables if they have a tempting name.
What would life be without homegrown tomatoes? Only two things that money can't buy, and that's true love and homegrown tomatoes.
From gardening to landscaping.
Today we are going to try and create garden eyebrows. Kind of like the flowers are sprouting directly from your hair. That makes sense.
Phone lines are open at 753-KVNU or 800-369-KVNU.
Kind of like eating vegetables.
It's the Garden Guide, now on KVNU 610 AM and 102 FM.
And good morning. We welcome you to the Garden Guide on this very sunny Saturday morning as we're heading into some very summer-like temperatures for this weekend. In fact, looks like it's going to be the possibly the hottest temperatures we've had so far this year.
It is July.
Yep, definitely summer.
It's supposed to be warm and sunny and dry, but we have had some thunder showers sneak in here and there, so not too bad. We'll take them.
Got so much to talk about. Unfortunately, we won't be taking calls, but we've got a lot of questions that have come in for the show as we join you on this Saturday morning. It's Will Feelright along with Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden. And first off, we've got to talk about all the excitement that's going on this weekend down in downtown Logan.
So much happening downtown. So we've got the sidewalk sale going on. Today's the last day of the sidewalk sale, and there's been some great deals. I know at Anderson's we're doing some fun things. We've got some plant hangers, some macrame plant hangers. They're 30% off. We've got a bunch of our garden gnomes that are on sale. I think they're 50 to 60% off. We've got roses are 25% off. Fruit trees are 25% off. I've got some gorgeous green giant arborvitae. They're 25% off. And a whole bunch of other specials happening at Anderson's this weekend. So a lot of fun stuff going on. Some great deals. And, of course, there's a lot of stuff on sale on the sidewalk just downtown.
Yeah. I was over there last week, and the greenhouses, still a lot of plants.
Looking pretty good, yeah.
A lot of trees and shrubs still.
The trees and shrubs look amazing. Greenhouses are starting to get a little picked over, so we're getting down there where there's not many vegetables left, not too many flowers left. But I just got a new selection of perennials in, and I've got another one coming next week, so a lot of great colorful perennials coming in, and really nice shrubs, got some great-looking trees, and it's definitely not too hot to plant. You know, people think, oh, it's 90 degrees, it's kind of hot. Great time to plant. The soil's warm, plants are taking off and looking really good, and we just transplanted a few squash a week and a half ago, and they're going crazy. I planted some corn, and it's already up. I mean, it's just like plants are growing like mad right now.
Yeah, we had a few zucchini and crookneck squash that didn't come up the first time, and last Wednesday, I think it was, I was in the store and picked up a few more seeds, dropped them in Wednesday at lunch, and last night when I went out to water, they were already coming up. So just over a week.
Yeah, so we can talk about
impressive.
We can talk about things you can still plant and things that you can do like successive plantings. So we can definitely hit that on the show. And great time to be out there planting. Next week we've got our Mad Money sale at Anderson. So if you haven't been participating in our Mad Money sales in the past, what happens is during the growing season, if you come in and you share your customer number, your phone number with us at checkout, we will put your purchase on our our Mad Money. So it's kind of our rewards program for Andersons, and we call it Mad Money. But for every $10 that you spend in the store, you get $1 back in Mad Money to come in and spend during our sales. Those sales, first sale is this coming week. So it's actually Monday the 10th through the Saturday the 15th. You can come in and use your Mad Money just like cash for up to half of your purchase price. So if you've collected, let's say, $25 in Mad Money through the growing season, you want to come in and use your Mad Money, you can use it for up to a half price purchase off of $50. So you can use your $25 towards, if anything, $50 or more. And so you basically get a really great discount on some stuff that's already on sale. So we're going to already have plants on sale. We'll have a lot of different items in the store on sale. You can use it on regular price items as well, too. But you'd be able to use that $25 in Mad Money for a $25 discount towards anything $50 or more. Yeah, so it's a really great way for us to reward our customers for coming in and spending money during the spring when we're crazy busy. And there's a sale going on next week from the 10th to the 15th. We'll be doing a bulb exchange in September, and we'll also be doing a Mad Money sale in December as well, too. So we have multiple opportunities throughout the year to come in and use your Mad Money.
All right.
Yeah.
And
So
I'm sure it's one of the comments that everybody is saying as they're downtown this weekend for the sidewalk sale is, how do you get your hanging baskets to grow the way they do?
Yes.
And so we could even talk a little bit about that too.
Yeah, how to keep your hanging baskets and planters looking looking great, because the planters on Center Street are really starting to fill in and look amazing now too. So we're excited about that as well. So lots happening on Center Street. It's a great place to come hang out. Sidewalk sales going on this weekend. There's some great food there, and of course at Anderson's we've got some great specials, and it's just a good time to stop in and cool off where it's a little hot outside. You can come into Anderson's, cool down, and check out the plants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, also, we've got to talk insects.
Yeah.
Oh, how many times have people come up to you this week and said, what do I do about mosquitoes and grasshoppers?
Yeah. It's about 50%. Yeah. Every other customer that comes in is asking about either grasshoppers or mosquitoes.
Yeah, one of the two. So a lot to talk about. And plus, we're getting into the summer temperatures where we got to start considering the best ways to take care of your lawn water-wise, conserve water, but also keep your lawn looking good. There's a lot of great ways to be able to do that.
There are between some products that help your soil absorb and retain the moisture better, and some different varieties of grass seed, and the extension, USU Extension, still doing water checks, so we can remind people about getting water checks so you can get your sprinklers analyzed and make sure they're putting out enough water. We've got some great options to help with water conservation at Anderson's as well too.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for people who are considering, and we've talked about this in the past, that many people, they purchase a home and they never even think about replacing their turf. They just kind of figure that it's going to live there forever. And
okay with what they've got, and there's nothing that's better out there. And yeah, you can definitely improve the quality of the grass, your disease and insect resistance, and your drought tolerance just by incorporating a new grass variety into your existing grass. Or you can kill it off and just do a whole brand new one too. So works really well either way, and it doesn't take as long as you think, and it's not as much work as you think either.
Is it something where a lot of us are considering, here we are right in the hotter temperatures, and we're looking at fertilizing?
Yeah.
Would it be a good idea just to mix some grass seed in with that fertilizer? Or
Absolutely. So you can just overseed with your fertilizer, but it is also the absolute best time of year to plant grass seed. So usually from the 1st of July until about the 15th of September, the soil is really, really warm, and it will germinate much quicker than it will the rest of the year. So Kentucky bluegrass planted the end of March will take 3 weeks for it to germinate and come up, sometimes even longer if it's cold and wet. But right now, you could have it up in 5 to 7 days. That's how quick it comes up.
Less than a week.
Less than a week, yeah. So if you want to overseed, there's some things we can do to really incorporate some new varieties of grass into your older existing lawn. But if you want to plant new, just bare ground's great. If you want to kill off a section of grass that just is problematic, doesn't hold water very well, it just browns up, it's more, gets bugs and diseases all the time, we can just kill that section off and plant a whole new variety of grass in there, and really in a couple weeks you'll be able to mow it.
Okay.
And that's how fast it comes along. So it really doesn't take as long as you think. So, for example, a couple years back, we killed a section of our turf. It was about this exact time of year. It was around the 5th to the 10th of July. We sprayed. We killed that grass off. We mowed it right down to the ground. And just scalped it as low as it would go. I brought a little bit of topsoil in, just groomed that over the dead existing grass, fixed some low spots, some high spots that kind of needed adjustment, and then we seeded new grass that very same day, and we had grass up in 5 days. And by Labor Day, we had mowed it multiple times. It was really filling in, and by the end of the season, you couldn't even tell that grass hadn't been there forever, so it took a couple months, and the grass that we killed off completely was right back to normal again, and it's my favorite grass in my lawn now. It's like the best looking grass. It's more disease resistant, more drought tolerant, greens up really early in the spring. I can water it really 30 to 40% less than the rest of the grass, and it still stays just as green.
And is the Killzall the best way to kill off that grass?
Yeah. So when we sprayed, we used a combination of Killzall and Decimate. So we mixed the two together and killed off. We had some weedy grasses in there that we had dealt with for quite a few years, and so we wanted to just kill that off and start all over. And so we did a little combo of Killzall and Decimate. And we sprayed once, waited about 4 or 5 days, sprayed again, and then just a few days after that, the grass was totally dead and was ready to be mowed. And so then we just scalped it down really low. I brought in a yard or so of topsoil to cover a couple thousand square feet and just groomed that in one afternoon. I did it by myself, so I didn't have any help other than my wife sprayed it and killed it and mowed it down. And then I groomed the soil out and overseeded it, and then started watering all in the same afternoon. Just got it all done in one afternoon. And we set our sprinklers to come on 3 times a day for about 5 minutes with each application. So we were only doing 15 minutes a day, just to keep that soil slightly damp all day long. But you don't want puddles to show up. So if you set it for 5 minutes, you got puddles that are showing up in spots, cut it back a little bit. You can cut back to 3 or 4 minutes, and just to keep that soil moist out there. And we had grass up in 5 days.
Okay.
In 5 days, grass was up like crazy.
Coming up.
Yeah. And there's some really great new varieties of grass. So, of course, we've been talking about the Marks Mix for quite a few years on the show. And the Marks Mix is a combination of turf-type rye and turf-type fescues. And so it gives you the really dark green color of the ryegrass. It gives you some great insect and disease resistance because the rye are very, very resistant to insect and disease damage. They green up really early in the spring. The tall fescue that's in there, the turf type tall fescue, it is super drought tolerant. It has really, really deep root system on it. And so the combination of the two grasses does well in shade. It does well in full sun. It's very drought tolerant, has all that disease and insect resistance, has a great coloring to it. But you can water it half of what you would your regular grass, and it still will perform really, really well. So the Marks Mix has been a great option. This year we have a new drought-tolerant grass that's even more drought-resistant than the Marks Mix, but it still keeps its color longer, and it like recovers very quickly after, like, say, an extended period of little to no water. It will recover very quickly, and it's very quick to self-repair if there's any damage that happens to it. And this is a combination of some dwarf turf-type tall fescues and some very drought-tolerant bluegrasses that can handle a lot of abuse. This is great for areas where you've got pets, like if you've got big dogs that like to run. It's a very durable grass, can handle a lot of wear and tear, but it's still soft. So it's still a soft texture because of the dwarf fescue that's in there. That dwarf turf-type tall fescue looks more like a thicker bladed bluegrass. So it's not a really thick, chunky, really broad, stiff grass like the tall fescues are. It looks more like Kentucky bluegrass, but it has roots on it that will go 2 to 3 feet deep. So it has a really, really deep root system, so it can handle much less water because the roots go down really deep looking for the moisture. Yeah, and they'll find that moisture. But texture-wise, it will blend in really, really well with that Kentucky bluegrass. It can handle extended periods of little to no water and still look really pretty good. It has some self-repairing ability where if it gets damaged, the bluegrass will just like quickly fill in. And it's one of the fastest establishing grasses where once you get it to germinate, it will spread and fill in very, very quickly. So it can fill in spots that have been damaged in a very short amount of time, but it has just this amazing disease resistance, disease, insect resistance, and drought tolerance that you just don't get out of other grasses. And it's called Eden. And so Eden, yep. Okay. So just like Garden of Eden, but this is called the Eden grass mix, and it's one of our most drought-tolerant grasses, but it still looks really good and has a really nice soft texture to it. And like I said, it's great for areas where you've got a lot of traffic, where the kids are playing soccer, or if you've got pets that just continuously run in the same spot and kind of wear patches in. This grass repairs itself very, very quickly.
So how would that compare as far as Mark's Mix versus the Eden Mix?
Yeah, the Eden is a little finer texture, and the Mark's Mix is a little coarser. Mark's is a little bit darker green because it's got the ryegrass in it, and it has more insect resistance because of that ryegrass. That ryegrass creates its own insect, or basically its own insecticide. The endophytes that it creates are toxic to insects that eat the grass. Yeah, and so they will leave it alone because it's got the endophytes in it. The Eden has the turf type rye's that are in there create their own endophytes as well too. So it has that built-in insect resistance like the Mark's Mix, but the rye is a little bit more potent at it than the fescues. So we're excited to have that grass. You use about 6 to 8 pounds per 1,000 square feet, so it covers a lot of area, and it is a gorgeous grass if you want to really conserve water. I mean, you could water once a week through the hottest, driest part of the summer and keep your lawn as green as it would be if you're watering 2 or 3 times a week.
Cost-wise, between Mark's Mix and Eden, are they very similar?
Yeah, very similar, because the Mark's Mix cost-wise is about the same, and your number of pounds per 1,000 square feet is about the same, 6 to 8 pounds per 1,000 square feet. So you are almost identical for cost. It's about $7 a pound, so not terribly expensive.
For those who don't want to go through the hassle of killing off their grass and then bringing in topsoil, and then are just looking to overseed, are there any tips for overseeding?
You got to have a place for the grass to get established. And so really, if you can aerate the turf and put those holes, pull the plugs out with the aeration, then there's a place for the new grass to take. And so what we'll usually suggest is that you mow your grass down really close, much closer than you normally would, aerate it, and then right after aerating, apply your new grass seed. Good time to fertilize as well, too. So you'd mentioned, can I put down grass seed with my fertilizer? Absolutely. So you can put some fertilizer out there, broadcast some new grass seed as well, and then rake it lightly. By raking it, it'll force the grass seed to come in contact with the soil and hopefully fall down in those holes, where the aeration had taken place. And then there's a place for that grass seed to germinate and to take. Yeah. And so if your grass is a little bit thinner, just by mowing it down close and broadcasting the seed and fertilizer over it and then raking it lightly, that will get the grass seed down in contact with the soil and will germinate. If you can aerate, you've got all these empty holes, which is a perfect time to do that. The other good time to overseed is after you've sprayed for weeds. Like if you have a lot of weeds, the weeds kind of take up space and they will kind of push the grass seed out of the way. Once you kill those weeds, you have a lot of empty spots.
Opens it up.
Yeah, so you can actually put seed down after you've killed all those weeds, and there's a place for the seed to take. And then if the grass seed takes, then you will be less likely to have weeds taking the place of the grass where the other weeds used to be, because you've got all these empty spots. So anytime there's bare grass or bare ground, or after you've aerated, is a really good time to overseed.
Okay.
Yeah, and get some new grass coming up in there. So between the Mark's Mix and our new blend of drought-tolerant grass Eden, or our Colorado Premium, which is a blend of bluegrasses and rye. Those are some 3 really great options for soft feeling, textured grass, really nice textured grass, dark green color, disease and insect resistance, and a lot of drought resistance built into it.
And for someone who has already planted or they're happy with their turf the way it is right now, we've talked before also about how there's several ways to treat your existing turf to make it more drought resistant.
Yeah. So this year, since we had a lot of water in March, April, May, even in June.
Even into June.
Even into June, we've had a lot of water. We use a lot of water holding or soil penetrant type products to get the moisture to penetrate down into the soil, but then it holds it a lot better. So for years, we've used Hydrotane, and for the last couple of years, we started using Back to Green, and they have in those products what's called a soil penetrant. And what it does is it binds to your soil when you apply it, and every time that water hits that area, it pulls the water down into the soil, and then it holds it there so your grass or your plants or even your vegetables can utilize it better. And so it makes your watering much more effective and last longer. And so this year we did, around the end of May, 1st of June, we put our first application of Hydrotane on there. Hydrotane will last for 90 days. So it'll really last throughout the entire hot, dry part of the summer. If you put it on 1st of June, it's going to last until the 1st of September, which is all of our days that are like 80s and 90s and sometimes even hotter. It kind of covers that whole hot, dry part of the summer. And every time we water, it holds the moisture, and it just allows the grass to pick up and utilize that moisture so much better. So Hydrotane on the bag, it says it will decrease your water usage by 35 to 50%. We've been able to get somewhere between really close to 35% pretty much all the time. So instead of watering 3 times a week, we can put the Hydrotane on, cut it back to 2 times a week, and keep the lawn as green as it was if we were watering 3 times a week. And really, if you get your water sprinkler system analyzed by USU Extension, and they'll do a water check. We have information at the store if you want to get a free water check from the extension. You can really be effective and efficient with your watering to the point where you will apply exactly an inch to an inch and a half of water each week. It's best if you can do it in 2 applications. And if you can do that, you can keep your lawn green all summer with just 2 applications of water. And if you add the Hydrotane or the Back to Green into that, you can cut that back even more. Yeah.
And with those treatments, if you were to do it, say, this weekend, you're covered through the summer and into the fall.
Exactly. The Back to Green lasts about 60 days. So an application now will get you to about Labor Day. If you do the Hydrotane, it'll last until the end of September. And they really, really do make a difference. Your grass will look better. Your landscape plants will look better. You won't need to use nearly as much water to get the same results. And Hydrotane's amazing. You get those thunder showers, and it'll pull the moisture just right off the grass down into the soil, down into the root system where it can utilize it. We hardly ran our sprinklers in June because between the thunderstorms that were coming through and the Hydrotane that we had applied, we didn't have to water. We just didn't water.
Wow.
Yeah, I hardly watered my garden.
Just left
in
the
June as well
off.
too. Yeah, we just turned it all off because there was just so much moisture coming almost on a daily basis. And between the Hydrotane absorbing and sucking that water down in the soil, we just didn't have to water.
We're talking water conservation with Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden, also grass planting for those who are looking to plant or overplant this time of year. Now, we've got to get into insects. We've got to talk rodents. Also a great time to fertilize your garden. We're going to talk about that coming up after the break, but we've got 2 minutes here, Mark, and for people that didn't tune in at the beginning of the show, a lot happening in downtown Logan this weekend.
Yeah, downtown Logan is exciting this weekend. We've got the sidewalk sale on Center Street and Main Street, and a lot of great deals going on. All the businesses downtown, but at Anderson's we've got some extra special deals. We've got some fertilizer that's on sale, 25% off for your lawn. In fact, I've got a lawn food with iron, which is like perfect timing for that. I've got 16-16-8 that's also on sale as well too. We've got some macrame plant hangers. We've got some pots that are half price. We've got roses on sale. We've got fruit trees on sale. We have Arbor Vitae on sale. So a lot of great deals happening at Anderson's, and we've got samples of those out front on the sidewalk, but a lot of other specials going on inside the store as well too. And then next week it's our Mad Money sale going on as well too. For the entire week, you can come in and spend your Mad Money just like cash for up to half of your purchase. So if you've been accumulating Mad Money at Anderson's all season, now's the time to come in and spend it. Mad Money sale next week. Yeah.
Just a great time to come down and just walk the sidewalks.
Oh, the flowers are looking amazing. So the flower beds look great. We've got some new restaurants that have opened up on Center Street. So there's
one right next to you.
Yeah. So Center Street Pizza and the Urban Market and Prodigy and Bloom is there. And just all kinds of great things happening on Center Street. And, of course, Great Harvest and the Bluebird are there as well, too. So can't beat that.
Long-time staples.
And the Waffle Iron and the creperie. Yeah, it's just like there's a lot of great things happening there on Center Street. And the flowers look amazing in the flower beds. Hanging baskets are looking awesome right now. So there's lots of color. And it's a great place to hang out on Center Street right now, especially during the sidewalk sale.
Okay.
Yeah.
Continues today, Center and Main Street, downtown Logan. So coming up after the break, we're going to talk mosquitoes. We're going to talk grasshoppers because insects this year are everywhere. We'll get into rodents as well. You're listening to The Garden Guide on News Talk KVNU, and we'll be right back after the break.
I'm Bill Walter, KVNU News. Medical professionals have begun to report research lending credence to Governor Spencer Cox's ongoing battle with social media providers. Suicide is one of the leading causes of death for teens and young adults in America, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. Based on recent data collected by the National Alliance on Mental Health, about 1 in 5 U.S. high school students has attempted or seriously considered suicide. Now, research by the medical journal Sleep Health suggests that sleep deprivation is linked to suicidal thoughts in children, teens, and young adults. While diagnosed medical sleeping disorders account for some of those problems, experts say the majority result from simple bad sleeping habits and a lack of adequate hygiene. One simple way of ensuring that young people get adequate rest is to keep digital devices with social media applications out of their hands overnight. Cox has been feuding with social media companies for nearly a year since he threw down the gauntlet at a meeting of the National Governors Association in Salt Lake City in October of last year. A record winter and a cool, wet spring led to the kind of late-season greenery not normally seen in Utah. Outdoor enthusiasts have told KUTV they've never seen it this green in Utah's mountains this late. But as mid-July approaches, the typical hot summer temperatures Utahns are used to are about to make a return. That worries wildfire forecasters as they try to determine what our fire season will look like. Great Basin Predictive Services said things are really going to start to dry out and turn brown in the next couple of weeks. Partly cloudy, then mostly sunny. High around 90 on Saturday, looking at lower 90s and plenty of sunshine on Sunday. For the latest news, visit CashValleyDaily.com.
From ABC Sports, I'm Mark Remillard. The Diamondbacks continue to surge out west with a win last night against the Angels. Top of the 7th inning, Jake McCarthy patting the lead.
Is swung on. That's hit towards the right field corner. That ball is going to get down, and it's going to score Moreno. McCarthy rounding second on his way to third, and he is in there sliding with an RBI triple.
The call on KMVP, Ryan Nelson also had the stuff to keep Ohtani and Trout hitless, and the D-backs beat the Angels 3-1. After losing Game 1 of their doubleheader against the Cardinals, the Yankees look to rebound. Up 4-2 in the ninth, Gleyber Torres added some insurance.
Swinging a liner, left field, that's going to be a base hit. Volpe scoring, getting the wave around Trevino. Walker up with it just now. Trevino will trot home over at first with a 2-run single here in the ninth. Gleyber Torres.
WFAN with the call. The Yankees split the doubleheader 6-2 the final. This is ABC Sports.
The new Prodigy Brewing on Center Street in Logan offers an atmosphere that's vibrant, energetic, and friendly. Serving handmade juicy burgers, wood-fired pizzas, wings, nachos, and locally crafted beer while bringing a unique space to downtown Logan. Now offering lighter lunch options like personal-sized pizzas and sliders, or choose from your favorites like wings, beer cheese, fried pickles, and more. Stop by for a quick and delicious lunch that will get you back to work on time. Experience Prodigy Brewing, exceptional food, extraordinary service, and family-friendly on Center Street in downtown Logan.
One night in Logan. Spend the evening with the Bellamy Brothers. Healthy Kids Society presents the Bellamy Brothers Wednesday, August 9th at the Logan High School Auditorium. With special guest, the Katie Matthews Band. Tickets start at $20 and are available now at thefit.ticketsauce.com. The Bellamy Brothers, Wednesday, August 9th, 7 o'clock at Logan High School. Get your tickets at thefit.ticketsauce.com.
Did you know 22 Americans die each day waiting for organ transplants, most of them for kidneys? The good news is that MatchingDonors.com is helping to change that. MatchingDonors.com is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that links organ donors with people in desperate need of kidneys and other transplants. And now you don't need to donate a kidney to save a life. You can donate your boat, car, or real estate, with 100% of the proceeds going to help save the lives of people needing organ transplants. Visit MatchingDonors.com or call 800-385-0422.
From gardening to landscaping, The Garden Guide with Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
We are glad you could join us for the Garden Guide on this Saturday morning. Will Feelright along with Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden. We were talking about it's going to be a happening place downtown today, especially around Anderson Seed and Garden.
Sidewalk sale's been going on for the last couple of days. Today is the last day of the sidewalk sale. We got some extra special deals going on at Anderson's. Out on the sidewalk, we've got roses are 25% off. I've got fruit trees that are 25% off. I've got some green giant arborvitae that are gorgeous. Big, beautiful ones. They're 25% off as well, too. We've got some garden gnomes that are on sale. We've got some plant hangers. We've got some pots. We have watering cans and just a lot of great deals going on at Anderson's for the sidewalk sale. Plus, we have some plants that we're still trying to clear out, find some homes for, and so those are like 75 cents a cup or half price. We've got some flowers and some vegetables that just need a new home.
Well, and I got to give a plug to the rose food that you sell from Fertaloom.
Oh, yeah.
I had mentioned a few times on the show that we thought we were going to lose the 2 rose plants in the side of our home.
Yeah. It was a rough winter for roses.
Just brutal.
Roses took a beating this year. Yeah.
We cut those down almost just above the graft. I mean, we had to go almost to the graft.
Yeah.
And 2 applications, a little bit of extra watering, and both of them have just taken off.
Oh, that's awesome.
Again, so
that's good.
So yeah, as you take advantage of those sale prices on those roses, grab a bag of that Fertaloom rose food.
Makes a big difference.
Great difference.
We recommend a quarter of a cup once a month throughout the growing season. So usually we'll start around the middle part of April, and we'll do mid-April, mid-May, mid-June, mid-July, mid-August, and then you're done. So once a month throughout the summer until August, and roses like to be fed very consistently, so they like to have that constant source of nutrient. And when they bloom, you gotta prune them.
Yeah,
you got to prune those flowers off, because the more you prune the flowers off, the more they send up more growth, and then they produce more flowers. Yeah. So you gotta keep pruning. But roses are on sale. Fruit trees are on sale. My green giant arborvitaes are gorgeous. They're some of them are like 5 feet tall, and they're just ready to be planted. So we've got some really good plants right now. So good things happening for the sidewalk sale.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we teased it before we went into the break. Grasshoppers and mosquitoes is probably the number one question you're getting right now at the store.
It is.
What can people do? Because it just almost seems like this is a battle we're not going to win.
So we'd been gone for a couple of weeks. We'd been traveling, and we got back. And when we left, the grasshoppers weren't bad at all. When I got back, it was like thousands of them. Like thousands of them. I went out and looked at my potatoes. I was like, oh my gosh! It's like they're like lacing my potatoes. Stupid grasshoppers. And they're coming from my neighbor's field. There's a field right next to my garden, which is next to our property. And you can tell the grasshoppers are just coming over from the field, and they were just having a heyday in the garden. They were starting to eat my raspberries, and they were eating everything. So a couple nights ago, actually last week, I went out, and it was time to put my repellent on. But I figured we got to knock these guys down before I put the repellent on. And so what I did is I sprayed with Bug Blaster from High Yield. So I used the High Yield Bug Blaster, and I went all the way around the perimeter of the garden because that's kind of where they're hanging out. And my mom's got some hollyhocks that they were just having a blast eating those hollyhocks up, and there were some grasses and some other weeds and things that the grasshoppers would take it off in. So I sprayed a good 10-foot wide band all the way around the garden. But where the garden kind of is adjacent to the field, I sprayed a little heavier over there, and I went a little bit into the field and kind of did that border right along there, really concentrate on the border, and then a few key locations in the garden that are plants that that we don't consume. So I sprayed the potatoes because we don't eat the tops of the potatoes. I sprayed the tops of the carrots, and just got in a couple spots there. And then I put my repellent down. So I used the Mosquito Go from Fertilome, and the Mosquito Go is great for mosquitoes, but it has the additional side effect of it deters grasshoppers as well too, and other insects. And so put the Mosquito Go down all through the garden, and by Sunday, so 3 days after I'd applied it, I went out there just to kind of check on things, see if anybody needed to be watered. There were, instead of thousands of grasshoppers, there was like 10. Yeah, just had knocked them down so much where I saw a few grasshoppers, and they were bigger ones that hadn't moved on yet, but it had decreased their numbers that much.
Dramatically. Yeah, just in a couple days.
Yeah, and so by spraying, it just knocked down a whole bunch of those smaller ones, and then putting the repellent out there, it prevents them from coming back in. So they don't like the smell of it, so they'll just stay away. And so we had just amazing results. Just within a couple days, just dropped it from thousands down to just a handful. Tens. Yeah, handfuls. And so that worked great. And it will work the same way for mosquitoes too. So the best options for mosquitoes that are out there would be permethrin, because the permethrin is effective at killing mosquitoes, but it has some natural repellent activity as well too, and they haven't been able to isolate the component in the permethrin that actually repels the mosquitoes, but they have found that it does repel mosquitoes. And so not only does it kill them on contact, so the permethrin is safe, it doesn't smell, it's very effective on all kinds of plants. You can use it on edibles as well as on ornamentals. You can use it on turf. It's just a very effective insecticide to kill the mosquitoes when they land on it. But it also, they don't like the smell of it, and so they will leave and go somewhere else. And so, like I said, the scientists aren't sure if it's the smell or if it's just something that the permethrin gives off, but the mosquitoes will just leave and go somewhere else. Then I use the Mosquito Go on top of that because that's the natural way of repelling the mosquitoes. It's got cedar oil in it. They don't like the cedar oil, and it just drives them over to your neighbor's house instead. So between the permethrin sprays, you can spray the lawn, you can spray the shrubs, you can spray the trees. If you're going to have a party and people are coming over to hang out at your house for a barbecue or whatever, spray a couple days before with the permethrin, and then the day before they come, do the Mosquito Go. And both of those will last 2 to 3 weeks. Okay. So you get 2 to 3 weeks of insect control and also repelling activity as well too, and very, very effective. If you have like standing water, ponds or pools or anything where the mosquitoes could be breeding, then we also have some mosquito dunks that you can put in there, and the insecticide is natural. It's a bacterial type insecticide. Kills the larvae as they hatch out. So you put that into the water, and then the insecticide floats up to the surface, and where the mosquitoes' eggs are on the surface, they'll hatch out as they're in the larval stage. It will kill them in the larval stage before they turn into adults. So you can really cut down entire generations of mosquitoes by using mosquito dunks in some of your standing water areas.
Okay.
That's where all the mosquitoes are coming from. We've got a lot of standing water, a lot of pools that have just been sitting around because it's been wet, and then we've had a really wet June, so we've got more puddles that just aren't like evaporating. Mosquitoes come in, lay their eggs on there, then all of a sudden you've got hundreds of mosquitoes where you just had one that was out there laying eggs. So the mosquito dunks, super effective at controlling new hatching mosquitoes,
especially if you have a little pond or
yeah.
fountains or other things like that
pools,
on your property.
Anywhere where they've got standing water where the mosquitoes are coming from. So very, very effective. And the permethrin's been awesome. And the Mosquito Go repellent has been super.
Okay.
Yeah, really good.
Okay, so if we go a little bigger, let's talk rodents for a minute, because this is something that we've had in our garden this year that we've never had. And I don't know if it's maybe because a couple of neighbors have moved away that had cats and dogs, and all of a sudden the gophers are like, hey, we've got a smorgasbord over here, and we can pick and choose what we want to eat.
Let's go to Will's house.
Yeah. and in just a couple of days, I'll tell you, we were shocked. They went through 6 rows of beans. Just topped them all off.
Topped them. Yeah, that's just like the deer at my house. So that's even larger rodents. Yeah, even larger rodents at my house. But between marmots and ground chucks, and there's a lot of ground rodents running around, especially on the west side of town. And they can do a lot of damage. In my neighborhood, it's skunks and raccoons. And they can really do a lot of damage as well, too. In fact, yesterday, had somebody that stopped in, had a picture of his tree, and the bark had just been like shredded off the tree, and it was raccoon. Yeah, raccoons that were sharpening their claws on the trees, and they had just shredded it. Porcupines will do it too. I've seen porcupines do the same kind of damage. So either a raccoon or a porcupine got in there, and it just shredded the bark all the way around the tree.
The whole tree.
Yeah, just all the way around the tree, and you can tell it's just claw marks all the way down. And cats will do it, but nothing like what the raccoons and the porcupines will do. But when it comes to some of your larger rodents, there are some baits you can put out there. There are some repellents that work very, very well. So the same thing we use for voles in the late fall works great on gophers, and it works great on marmots and a lot of critters that are going to be causing problems. And it's made from castor oil. It really is very, very effective. It's safe for people, so it's not going to be toxic for people. You can use it right in your vegetable garden or around your edibles, raspberries, blackberries, things like that. Non-toxic to people. The rodents despise the smell of it, so they'll just leave and go somewhere else. And it does come in a liquid as well as in a granule. And you'll get probably 2 or 3 weeks of control out of the repellents, but very, very effective at pushing them out of your property to go somewhere else. Yeah. Whether that's to the vacant field next door or whether it's to your neighbor out back or whatever. But the Mole Go, very effective. Castor oil, non-toxic, organic. Works great at repelling them. We have some baits that are very effective as well, too. Some of the baits are better than others for, like, secondary critters. So we like the zinc phosphide baits. So the zinc phosphide is non-toxic to birds. So if the birds happen to get into the bait, like say you make some bait stations and some of the bait comes out and the birds come and eat it, won't bother your birds. But it also won't bother a secondary consumer. So if a vole or a gopher or mole or something eats it, and then your dog gets a hold of that vole or that gopher and eats it, it won't bother your pet. Yeah, okay. So it's much less toxic to the second generation consumer, and so you're less likely to have problems. If you've got like a rodent bait out there for like decon or some of the ones that have the blood thinners in them, if your dog eats enough voles, then all of a sudden it's consumed a whole bunch of blood thinner. It can be problematic for pets. Yeah, with the zinc phosphide, you won't have that problem. And so the zinc is really good. And then there's always live traps. You can always trap them, but then you've got to move them to a different location, which can be problematic also.
You decide which neighbor.
It's like where you're going to let them loose. Yeah, so you got to be a little careful that way as well too. But the live traps work really well, and most of the time they are attracted to various fruits. So if you've got apples or peaches or bananas, something that's interesting to them, then they will go into the trap.
Grab it.
Yeah, trap will catch them, and then you can relocate them somewhere else. Yeah. So.
Well, it gave us a chance to do a little bit of replanting in our garden this week because I was mentioning in the earlier segment that we replanted some squash plants, and I couldn't believe it. They came up in a week.
Yeah,
and
they're
then
super
this
fast.
We went out and thought, well, we'll just replant some of these green beans and put those down watered them last night, and expect probably see those coming up here this next week.
5 to 6 days on the beans, so they'll come up really quick. We planted corn around it was just a week ago now. It was up in 5 days. Mm-hmm. So our corn was up in 5 days. So I planted it, watered it really thoroughly. We've had some nice warm temperatures. It just popped out of the ground in 5 days. So very, very quick. And now's a really great time to replant some things. Usually we've got a lot of cold weather crops that are kind of petering out right now. Spinach, lettuce, radishes, peas. Harvest season is pretty much over, and we're replanting the first part of July. This year, since a lot of early crops didn't get planted because the weather was so bad, it's still not too late to plant things. So beans, they'll produce in about 55 days. So you plant them on the 10th of July, they will be ready before the 10th of September. Yeah, so if you plant them now, they'll be ready the end of August, first part of September. If you plant 70-day corn on the 10th of July, it'll be ready by the 1st of September. And so you've got plenty of time to plant some of those crops. Carrots are 75 days. They are not frost sensitive in the fall, so if you plant them now in the end of September, 1st of October, start getting frost, won't bother the carrots at all. You'll have a great fall crop. Beets are the same way. You can do beets right now, have those ready for fall. My dad would always plant around the first or second week of July. He'd always plant another set of summer squash. Crooknecks or zucchinis or golden zucchinis or gray zucchinis, any of those, because at a certain point in the summer they kind of get overgrown and they kind of stop producing. They don't produce as well, and so then he just yank them out and he's got another one that's coming. And those summer squashes, 45 days. Yeah. They will produce in 45 days. So if you plant one right now, let's say we're going to plant on next week on the 10th of July, it'll be ready by about the 20th of August. Yeah, wow. That's how fast they are. So they'll be producing squash. Not just the plant will be big, they'll be producing squash in 40 to 45 days.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how quick they are. So definitely not too late to plant any of those things. As it starts to cool down, especially at night, great time to replant cold crops too. So usually the end of July, 1st of August, we're telling people great time to do broccoli, great time to do cabbage, great time to do cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts. Always struggle with Brussels sprouts in the springtime because it turns too hot too fast. They don't do very well. Yeah. But you plant it the 1st of August, it's maturing in September and October, and that's when they're going to be the best quality sprouts you've ever had. So Brussels sprouts, great time to do those for get them ready for fall. Okay. Yeah. So good time for those.
Great time to replant. Now, for example, if you've got a good corn crop that's now coming up, it's about knee high, we always say that's a good time to then fertilize again.
Yes. So as your corn gets taller, corn is very nitrogen hungry, so it wants to be fed nitrogen consistently, and that's when you're going to get tall stalks, and you're going to get more than one ear per stalk, and your ears are going to be big, and they're going to fill out all the way to the tip. If that's not happening, you're nitrogen deficient in most cases, because the corn really, really is a heavy, heavy nitrogen feeder. So when we plant our corn, we put a good dose of nitrogen out there where we're going to plant the corn, so the whole area gets fertilized. But then when it's 12 inches inches tall, we side dress it with straight nitrogen. So ammonium sulfate, ammonium nitrate, anything with a high first number, even urea is great for that. You want something with a high first number, so 20 to 35%. Just straight nitrogen. Yeah, is perfect. And the ammonium sulfate's actually really good because the sulfur is really helpful for the corn also. So the corn likes the sulfur. So we like to do ammonium sulfate. And we'll do about a teaspoon to a tablespoon for each cluster of corn, because usually there's my corn planter puts down 1 to 3 seeds in each location. And so if we've got 3 that come up, I just let them all go and I just feed them a little bit heavier, and they perform just fine. So with the corn, teaspoon to a tablespoon around each cluster of stalks at 12 inches tall, when they're 3 feet tall, and then when they tassel.
Oh, okay.
And so usually 3 applications of straight nitrogen throughout the growing season, as well as an early pre-plant application. And then your stalks will be tall. Your ears will fill out all the way. You'll get multiple ears per stalk, and they'll be nice and big and full and plump. And I planted my absolute favorite variety of corn this year, Eden. And we talked about Eden, the grass seed. Yeah. This is Eden, the white corn.
And it's a white kernel.
It is a white kernel, and it is the sweetest corn I've ever grown. So we've always done Optimum or Nirvana, and that's been amazing. It's a bicolor corn. Mm-hmm. And I planted the Nirvana this year as well, too. But last year we did Eden, and it was the best corn I've ever eaten. Oh, it was amazing. So all white, so sweet you can eat it raw. And it's emerged so quickly. 5 days. It was up in 5 days, and just growing like a weed.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's looking really good. We're excited for our corn to come on the end of August. So.
Now, what about would be the best fertilizer for tomatoes, squash plants, beans?
Yeah. Funny that you would ask that, because I just fertilized my tomatoes, peppers, melons, and squashes last night. And we do kind of a variant of our compost tea. So the compost tea is great for flowers. It's good for hanging baskets. It's good for plants that are kind of struggling or have been damaged. But it's really great for vegetables as well, too. And I don't do all my vegetables with the compost tea, but I definitely do the tomatoes. Mm-hmm. And the compost tea is great for the tomatoes, but it doesn't have all the micronutrients in it that the tomatoes need, because sometimes they're a little bit iron deficient. So they need those micronutrients. And so I will supplement it with either the all-purpose from Bicor, which is local, so that's really good. All-purpose or Nutri-Green would be great to supplement that with, because it's got a full complement of the micronutrients in there with it. Or the Grow Big from from Fox Farm.
Oh, okay.
So Fox Farm's Grow Big has like a full package of the micronutrients in there as well. So I'll mix up the compost tea, but then I'll boost it with a little bit of either one of these fertilizers to add the micronutrients into it. And then I also add the fungicide 5 from Fertilum. So it's got that bacterial disease control in there, which works on early and late blight, which affects tomatoes, works on verticillium and fusarium, which are viruses that affect the tomatoes that attack them from the soil. And so I'll mix that in with the fertilizer. So I've got the compost tea, we've got a little bit of the all-purpose from Bicor or the Grow Big, and then the fungicide 5 from Fertilome, or the complete disease control from Monterey. It's the same thing. And then I water the plants with it, and I get it all over the leaves. Mm-hmm. So if you get it all over the leaves between the compost tea and the disease control, that will kill all kinds of diseases that are out there, mildews and leaf spots, and it'll control all those, even the soil-borne diseases. And then it's got the micronutrients in there as well, too.
Okay.
And they're picking it up through the root system and picking it up through the leaves as well, too. And so then I hit my peppers with the same concoction. I do my squashes, melons, pumpkins with the same concoction as well, too. So it's a little combination of different fertilizers, but the combo feeds the soil, which in turn feeds the plants, which controls the diseases. It just works on like everything. Okay. Yeah, it's awesome.
So
yeah,
great time to fertilize, great time to replant, great time to even plant for the first time if you're a little slow.
Yeah, when I put that fertilizer combo on my tomato plants, 2 days, maybe 3, I'll watch them grow 6 inches.
And they just take off.
They just take off. Yeah, it's like they'll be 2 feet tall. I'll hit them with that, and all of a sudden they're 30 inches. You know, it's just like almost overnight. You'll see them just take off, and the leaves are just dark green and healthy, and my plants look amazing. So we just took aquadomes and walls of water off the tomatoes last week, and they are 3 to 4 feet tall already. Yeah, so they're just growing like crazy. Okay. So the heat's been good. A little bit of fertilizer. I'm only watering them about every 5 days right now. So they're going quite a few days in between waterings. So 4 to 5 days in between waterings, whether that's with the watering can or with the soaker hose. They're only getting watered every 4 to 5 days, and a fertilizer about every other watering. Is what I'm doing. And boy, they're responding like crazy.
Yeah. Well, and with these warm temperatures that it looks like we're going to see into this next week, it's going to keep that soil temperature high, and great time to be out in the garden.
Going to make my corn grow like crazy. We're going to be picking beans in no time, and I just got the carrots and the beets thinned out again. So that's a good sign. That's a good sign.
Well, and a quick reminder, too, that make sure you stop by Anderson Seed and Garden today. Sidewalk sale.
Sidewalk sales going on. We've got some great specials, some really nice deals on plants and fruit trees, roses, and arborvitae, some watering cans, and some fertilizers. We've got a whole bunch of really good things on sale for the sidewalk sale. Last day of the sidewalk sale today, and then next week, Mad Money sale going on at Anderson's. It's our customer appreciation sale for everyone who's been coming in and spending money with us all spring. Mad Money next week.
Well, thanks for joining us again. Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden here for the Garden Guide, and we'll be back again next week.
The newsmakers, the stories.
This is a situation that is rapidly spinning out of control.
Get it all here.